to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about the top 8 possible candidates for the next Doctor. The list was 10, some considerable cuts were unfortunately made. Now these 8 aren't necessarily the ones that I want the most. I will kind of talk about that in another video, but also a little bit in here. But this is mainly who I think is most likely going to be the next Doctor. Looking at people who have worked with Russell T Davies, but not just those people, but people who fit his style of writing and just who would just genuinely make a good candidate, and I think could actually happen. So let's just get right into it. So number 1 is of course Tina Miller, or Tina. Honestly, I have struggled with the name forever. It's the most simplest thing, I just can't do it. Obviously, she worked with Russell T Davies, and I believe it's a sin, but also especially years and years. So I think she could be a really big potential candidate. She fits the role really well. She fits his writing really well, obviously, that we've seen from his other shows that he's done. And I just think she's a great choice, especially moving on from Jodie. So you're keeping that kind of female Doctor. A lot of these people on the list here are female, because I strongly think that the next Doctor will be a female. So you're keeping that as well, but they are also growing the character, because she's not going to be as bubbly as 13. Maybe she can be a bit more serious, slightly more Jo Martin, but not as dark. And you know, it can kind of still keep up with RTD's more kind of floaty, more fantastical writing style for Doctor 2. That's of course if it goes down that route. So that is candidate number 1. Now for candidate number 2, we have also someone on both It's a Sin and Years, and that is of course 13th Doctor's pick for the next Doctor, is Lydia West. I feel like she could be a fantastic pick. I don't know if she is, I don't actually know how old she is, but I'm pretty sure she would be the youngest Doctor, which could be something quite interesting to see. Obviously that's nothing for her skill of her age. You know, she's fantastic in Years and Years. She's a lot better than some of the other actors in both of those shows. So her age is nothing to do with that, and I think she could be a really great choice. I also think she could fit with a more modern style for the show. She could appeal to the new audience. Because Russell T Davies, obviously when he came back in the show, he seems to want to do things where he's bringing in new audiences. And each season he did kind of having either a new Doctor from series 1 to 2 or a new companion for all his other ones. It allowed for people to kind of be brought in from different areas and new people to join along the way. And I think having a young Doctor can definitely do that for audiences who have been watching things like Years and Years and It's a Sin. And obviously having it be younger can get in kind of our generation a lot more, for those that aren't interested or kind of really aware that much of the show. 3. Now number 3 is one of my personal choices on the list, but it's also one that I think could happen. And that is Emma Thompson. She was, again, obviously in Years and Years, and she played the kind of evil Prime Minister woman, so that's why I think she could also be a great pick for a Master. I'll have a video at some point next year about that, of kind of Masters, and we'll talk about the Master in general, because I feel like Sacha Dhawan could have a chance of staying, so we'll just have to wait and see. But genuinely, Emma Thompson is a great choice for the next Doctor, and I think she could pull off dark, serious, kind of the fantastical side of 10, sarcastic like 9, just everything really, really well. A very powerful Doctor, obviously a little bit older than Jodie, I think, so that would also make a nice change, as kind of how Capaldi's Doctor was allowed to be more serious and kind of have more grounded moments, because he was obviously a lot older and a lot less kind of floaty and alien than 11 was. And having Emma Thompson be that kind of nice contrast from obviously 11 to 12, you can have it again from 13 to 14, and with RTD at the helm, it would be very great to see. So Emma Thompson is the next one on the list. But after her is where things start getting a little bit interesting. After her is Russell Tovey, who could I feel like it was Toby, but apparently according to Google it says Tovey, so I don't know. But Russell Tovey, I feel like he could be another great choice. Obviously, you might recognise his name because, of course, he was in Years and Years, but he's also been in Doctor 2 before, and there's been a few people that people have always said, oh, he'd be great as the Doctor. And he played Alonso, obviously, in Voyage of the Downs, and kind of had a little reprisal in the End of Time Part 2 when he met Jack. So you could tie it to that, and maybe how the Doctor's remembering him, somehow Capaldi obviously remembered his character in Tennant's era, but you don't have to do that, of course. You can just have 2 separate, you know, the actor playing 2 separate characters. It's happened before and they don't really talk about it, like with Karen Gillan, it wasn't ever brought up. So I think, you know, you could easily do that. I think he'd be another great choice. He could do definitely some more serious things. He could also be really funny. To be kind of Saw Alonso, he can have a nice bubbly side to him as well. So it would be really interesting. I think he'd be, I don't know how well he'd do a very alien Doctor like Matt Smith, but I think he could very well handle a very nice human Doctor kind of towards the end of 9, and especially kind of, you know, 10 all the way through really. but that's the only reason why I think he might not be the one who could make it, because I don't think RTV is necessarily going to go back to how he did it before. I think he's going to do things very differently, so he might not get on the list. But nevertheless, he's still on the list because he is a possible and, well, likely candidate out of a bunch of actors. Next, this actor here, I believe, was actually... No, yeah, he was in Series 12. He was in The Haunting of Villa Diodotti. Anyway, and he was also in some Russell's shows, but I think he'd be a fantastic choice because this person can do funny, he can do serious, he can do dark, he can do kind of hopeful like the Doctor can and bring up hope in the really dark times. And he's probably in my top 5 out of the next Doctors that I'd want. And this person is, of course, I forgot. Baldry, Maxim Baldry. He, I believe, is the possibly one of the next Doctors, and I think he's a great choice as well. So that's who he is. But after him is where things take an even more interesting step, and another look back at Tennant's era, and it actually has some context behind it, and I think it's pretty interesting. And that is, of course, David Morrissey. So you might recognise the name, you might not. I didn't actually know his name. He actually played the Next Doctor in the story The Next Doctor. So obviously he wasn't actually the Doctor. He was Jackson Blake, I think, and obviously how he thought he was the Doctor. But the reason why I think this is interesting and could happen is obviously, you know, Russell knew, this was set in the Series 4 specials. Russell knew Tennant was leaving, he knew he was leaving. So I feel like maybe when he was doing the story and kind of looked at the story and casting for it, he might have thought to himself, if I was casting the Next Doctor, who would I pick? And maybe that's why he went with David Morrissey. That's also a reason why he could come back as the actual 14th Doctor, because he could be a potential pick for who Russell would have liked to play a future Doctor. So that was just a little kind of wild card that I threw in there. But you never know, I thought I might as well put it in the video in case it turns out to be true. This one is a name I always seem to butcher again, but is Helena Bonham Carter. It's on screen. I think she'd be a great pick. I think, especially maybe if she's stepping down in her career, in a way from going from kind of movies to more serialized TV thing. And obviously Doctor Who seems to be great to do that for kind of people in the older generation. Obviously Capaldi was, I know he'd always done series and things, but certain actors have, like her, like Emma Thompson, she stepped down from doing big kind of films, kind of stepping down to doing series like years and years. And I think this could be a great step down, but still keeping in the public limelight, so getting in obviously money and all of that. For if she was the Next Doctor, I think she'd bring a really fantastical vibe and a really magical vibe to it, which would be very different from Tennant's, but also similar. So, again, 50-50. But I think she'd be a great choice. Obviously, she can do dark if she wanted to. I think her thing would feel very fantastical and very alien-y and just really kind of glowy and warm, which the show kind of needs, because Jodie's does feel very alive, but it's missing that kind of warm feeling that you haven't really had, I'd say, properly since... It's probably not had that warm feeling since Series 5, if I'm being totally honest. Like that kind of warm RTD coziness kind of feeling, where everything's kind of closely tight and it's all cozy and it's warm and it's just a fun watch. And I think her Doctor with RTD's writing could really bring that back. So that is my top 8 list of most likely candidates for the Next Doctor. This is a video of a 3-part video. So this is who, the next video is when, and I can't for the life of me remember what the last one was. Because this one is who is the most likely Next Doctor. The next one is when will the Next Doctor most likely be announced. And after that it was... I don't know, but I'll try and get back to you if I remember. The video will be out hopefully soon. So please subscribe. Obviously this was a face reveal. I do feel like I've touched on that a little bit. Sorry if it's not what you're expecting. This is of course just a hologram. The Dalek is underneath. Like, this is just a hologram to make it a little bit easier for you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Have a lovely day, evening, wherever you are. Have a very happy new year, by the way, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.